Hey, Lee here, and welcome to the poll list for February 8th, 2012, presented by longboxradio.com. Let's get right down to it. This week, from Dark Horse Comics, I, of course, picked up Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is issue 6 of Season 9. Kind of behind on this, but I've been picking up the issues, so there it is there. Right on. Moving on to DC, we have Batgirl. Gail Simone's Batgirl, of course, moving well into the second arc of the New 52 book here. I've been enjoying it. Loving the covers, of course. The inside art I haven't been minding so much either. Past that, Batman and Robin. Last time we left this book, Damian was kind of maybe making a turn to the dark side, maybe not. Maybe playing both sides, who knows, but from the cover here, we can see there's going to be some kind of altercation between him and Batman. So we'll see what goes down there. It's been a very good book, one of the better Batman books, aside from Batman itself, the Scott Snyder one. So, Batwoman number 6, we're changing up artists here. So I believe it's Amy Reeder who's taken over. Now, those are some big art shoes to fill, because the first 5 issues of this book have been friggin' gorgeous. Not that Amy Reeder's a slouch, no. The interiors of this are actually very, very pretty themselves, but coming off of like the last few issues, that's going to be, like I said, some big shoes to fill. Other than that, Batwoman's been a pretty cool book itself. Definitely takes place in a pre-New 52 world, so liking the nostalgic feel of Batwoman. Cool book. Suicide Squad. Issue 6 and issue 5, there was the kerfuffle at the prison. Kerfuffle, that's right. And Harley Quinn actually managed to get away. So now the rest of the Suicide Squad, led by Deadshot, are charged with finding her and bringing her back. So that's what's taken off here. This has been a very, very fun book. One of my favorite New 52 books. It's just a fun romp. It doesn't take itself too seriously and stuff like that. So it's been a very fun read, Suicide Squad has. Going over to Dynamite books, I got 2 Dynamite books today, which is like 200% more than usual. But Kevin Smith's The Bionic Man, we are on issue 6 of this book. This has been really, really, really good. As far as Kevin Smith hasn't kind of been, for as much as he tweets, been talking about this more, because this is actually a very, very good comic, and it's kind of a shame it didn't end up going to series or movie or whatnot, but I definitely recommend it. It's 6 issues in already. I pick it up from the beginning if you can. It's Dynamite, so it should be, a little easier to find first printings of the book, but very, very cool. Definitely check it out. If you like The Bionic Man, that is, of course. Coming over to us from the pages of Jennifer Blood, we have Ninjets, number 1 from Dynamite. I remember Ramil hyping this one, so I picked it up. We'll see what it is. We got a ninja cutting off all kinds of body parts on the front there, so goodness has to be baked right in. So we're gonna try that one out. Going over to Image and Top Cow Spawn 216. This book's kind of moving along at a faster clip now, which is kind of nice because it's a little slow going there for a while, but very well done. The art and everything, and the writing has been really cool in this book, but it's very wordy and not a lot of action. In the previous, I would say 16 issues at this point, so been kind of a hard sit, but things are ramping up. It's all going to pay off, I know. Going over to Thief of Thieves. And that's a number 1 from Image, which is a $2.99 book from Kirkman and Spencer co-writing this one. And if you've been reading Image books, you've probably seen a bunch of previews for that one, but that one looks pretty neat. Almost missed it. Luckily, the gentleman at my local comic store remembered to throw it in my poll box, so looking forward to that one. This book has like a Ramil book written all over it on the podcast, so hopefully we can get him on there and see that he undoubtedly likes it. Artifacts, of course. You look on the front of this book and you'll see there's no number. It is issue 14. It's a wraparound cover. 14's on the back. For any of you wondering, hey, where'd it go? And this is actually the origin, the new creation story. So Ron Mars on that one. And we're going to kind of retell the Top Cow universe starting over, because if you've read Artifacts 13 and you heard us talk about it on the podcast, you know that things are kind of a blank slate now. So we'll see where that's going. Over to Marvel, Black Panther. This is the last issue of Black Panther, The Most Dangerous Man Alive, a book I almost dropped. I swear, who is it? Is it Liss? Yeah, David Liss on this book. I've almost dropped it a good 3 times, but there was always some kind of hook that pulled me back. This previous run of books, the Lady Bullseye and stuff like that, has been actually very, very good. So, not necessarily sad to see this book go, but it's nice that it's kind of coming to an end in good hands. So yeah, that's Black Panther. Right on. Carnage USA, which is coming to us, of course, from Zeb Wells and Clayton Crane. One of my favorite books going right now. It's just a horror show. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of the symbiote storyline. They brought back a lot of the symbiotes in new incarnations in this book, so it's super cool. Spider-Man kind of got his back against the wall in this one. There's not much he can do. So, yeah, check it out. Carnage USA. Past that, we go over to Jason Aaron and the Incredible Hulk. This is issue 5. A book that's kind of been lost on me. It started kind of shaky and has been getting better. We have Hulk squaring off against human Bruce Banner at this point, and it got kind of silly at the end of last issue. So we'll see where this one goes. It's Jason Aaron, so I'm willing to trust him on this one. Past that, we go over to Scarlet Spider. When I read the first issue, it was not a lot to go on. It's definitely like a little bit of a darker book than Spider-Man, I guess. He opens a crate full of, like, people or wherever it was. But he hasn't donned the costume or really done anything yet. We haven't seen him in action, so hopefully we get some more of that in this, because if it takes any more issues, I'm kind of done with it. We kind of had a Kane as Scarlet Spider origin kind of during Spider Island and stuff like that. He just needs to get down to brass tacks and start kicking ass in Texas or wherever he is. Secret Avengers, issue 22. Rick Remenders is like hard on the book now. Changing up the team a little bit. Captain America not so much involved. If you read the .1 issue, he kind of hands it over to Hawkeye. In addition to that, we have I think Captain Britain up here in the corner. Beast looking weird in the corner there. Of course, we have from the looks of things Hank Pym and stuff like that. So cool. Looking forward to see what Rick Remender actually does with that book. So looking forward to it. Venom. Now, I have a lot to say about the Circle of 4 story, and I'll save it for the podcast, which is coming up this weekend, episode 19 rather. But the Venom storyline was building up to something, and this kind of feels like, I don't know. I know it'll probably pick up afterwards. Unfortunately, Rick Remender isn't doing all the parts of this. This one's by Williams. I want to say Ron Williams. I am Rob or Ron. I could be absolutely wrong with that. I could check it up. I could actually do my research, but I'm not going to. So the first one, of course, if you read Venom 13, you learn that Blackheart's kind of taken over Vegas, and who happens to be there at the time? Well, Alejandra Ghost Rider, X-23, who's pursuing someone who stole a vial of her blood to make clones, and they did make clones, and then they covered them with symbiote, which is just bad times. Venom's there, and of course Red Hulk chasing Venom shows up as well, and they all decide to kind of join forces against Blackheart, which just kind of feels like a step to the side. Like Venom was like just going and going and going. Rick Remender was building up this crazy story, and I had nothing but good things to say about the book. This kind of feels like, I don't want to say it's forced, but it's not where I thought the book was going to go, and hopefully he can get back on track afterwards. But yeah, it's still a great book. Like the event itself is like a little mini event is fine. It's kind of weird that they are, it's part 2, which is 13.1, which is a little confusing, and then part 3 will be 13.2. If you see what I'm getting at, that's a little weird. I don't know why they would do it that way. But anyways, Venom, all the same. Over to Wolverine and the X-Men, probably the most embarrassing X-Men comic cover I've seen past the, I think it was the Kara Andrews lumpy ass Emma Frost. We have her as Kitty Pryde, who's pregnant inexplicably at the end of last issue, and there's a bunch of the Brood and whatnot kind of clawing all over her, so we'll see what happens. That's weird. Okay, so moving on. X-Men 24, we got a vampired out Jubilee on the front there. So maybe they're going to pick up where the original storyline of this new boot of X-Men kind of left off with, she is a vampire. What are we going to do about that? Well, what can we do? And then I left the best for last, definitely. A book that's ending this week. It's over here. Punisher Max, issue 22 from Jason Aaron and Steve Dillon. Since I've gotten back into comic books, this book kind of started when that happened, and I've been reading it ever since, and has been undoubtedly one of the things I look most forward to in my pull box. So Jason Aaron, Steve Dillon, thank you so much for this book. It's 22 issues of solid gold. When I think Punisher now, I compare everything to this. Greg Rucka's run cannot compare to something as engaging as this, and it's not just the hyper-violence, which there is, it's the psychological and how the panels are set up and stuff like that. Like, Steve Dillon's drawing of Punisher is now, when people say Punisher comic book, I think of Steve Dillon's Punisher. And if you know Steve Dillon's art, that's kind of... yeah. So anyways, it ends here. Punisher presumably died at the end of last issue. Spoilers, sorry. So we'll kind of see it all wrap up here. And yeah, I'm at a loss for words. This has really been one of my favorite comic books. Hands down in my top 3 since I started reading comic books again. So I definitely recommend picking up any of the trades, any of the story arcs. Read the whole thing if you can. It's only 22 issues. So it's not that big of a commitment, and it's definitely worth the read-through. I can't say enough good things about Punisher Max. So, and it's over, so I'm going to go cry to myself. But that is the poll list for this week, February 8th. We have an LBR podcast coming up this weekend, the 19th. Episode, as it were. I don't know who's coming out to that. Definitely me and Mike. We got a lot of news and stuff to talk about, including the preview for Avengers versus X-Men, rather. And, we got a new Avengers trailer. We got a new Spider-Man trailer. So much to talk about, and of course, a bunch of comic book news and reviews. So stay tuned to that. Otherwise, that's the pull list for this week. Signing out.